Dear Jess, at last I've made it here to eastern Andalucía, and I'm having a Christmassy wander around El Cabo de Gata, the rocky cape at the southeastern corner of the peninsula, my head full of local legends of mermaids and hidden treasures. So with scant regard for my waistline, I've come to shine the culinary spotlight on the province of Almería. Despite being Europe's driest area, Almería produces fruit and vegetables in unbelievable quantities. These greenhouses are easily visible from space and collectively known as El Mar de Plástico, the Sea of Plastic. But anyway, as you can imagine, this tremendous coastal area abounds in seafood. And today I've selected not exactly a local speciality, but really a national treasure, the Arroz Negro, a seafood rice dish coloured with squid or cuttlefish ink, a preparation found all along the Spanish coasts.
Debe preparar de ALIOLI.
Está bien negro, qué bien. More of the typically local Almerian stuff to come in future episodes. So a visit to the central market in Almería City to run my recipe by the local ladies, making sure I acquire the ink sac along with the cuttlefish.
¿Esta?
Es sepia, ¿no? Jibia.
Sí.
Sí.
Aquí se llama jibia.
Pero lo mismo.
Sí, lo
Sí.
mismo.
Here are the ingredients you'll need for the Arroz Negro, as well as the fish stock, the essential flavour base that we cook the rice in. You'll need about 250 grams of cleaned cuttlefish or squid, that's to say the body and the tentacles. I won't be using all of this one, so 1/2 of this size would have been perfect. Here's some squid ink in a packet that I got just in case the ink from the sack wasn't enough to really blacken the rice. Some Spanish sweet paprika powder, not the hot stuff. Extra points for you if it's the pimentón de la vera variety. Often the locals will use the pulp from a rehydrated dried pepper, pimientos choriceros, here sold in a jar, but the simple pepper powder is just as common and authentic. Here are the bones from a monkfish that I'll be using for the stock. You can also use the small Mediterranean rockfish called morralla, or basically any suitable white fish or bones thereof for making the stock. The amount of rice you'll need is 200 grams. 100 grams per person is the standard measure in Spanish rice dishes and paellas. Saffron is a welcome addition, despite orange food colouring often being used these days. Turmeric powder is also common. So the stock is simmered for 20 minutes to half an hour. During this time, cut up the cuttlefish into 1 centimetre dice and fry in a good puddle of olive oil that covers the bottom of the pan. Now dice up the vegetables, pepper, onion and garlic. And add to the pan when the sepia has started to take on a little colour, keeping the garlic aside for the moment as it tends to burn if added too soon. Season well to help the vegetables sweat down. Oh, and this stuff from the other end of Spain goes in the cook, not in the arroz. So now, once all this is soft and lightly coloured, a tomato is grated in this typically Spanish manner. Stir it around for a while until rather thick, and then add a teaspoon of the pepper powder, along with a generous pinch of saffron. Now the rice is added and moved around over a high heat just to toast it a little, but not to the point of colouring it. Now, and to incorporate the ink, the sack is broken into a little stock. I'm adding another bag for good measure, and then stirred into the rice. It's looking really good. Strain over the boiling stock, exactly half a litre for 200 grams of rice. It's important that the stock be boiling so that the cooking is not interrupted. Keep it at a rolling boil for about 8 minutes. And then turn it down to a gentler simmer for a further 8 minutes, tasting the broth for seasoning as you go. When the rice is ready, 16 or 17 minutes total cooking time, it should be quite soft but still a little resistant to the bite. It's a great crime in Spain to overcook the rice, so do be careful. If the rice dries up too quickly, feel free to add a small amount of boiling stock. Remember to cover up the rice for 5 minutes before serving. I'll leave the recipe for the ALIOLI, the garlic mayonnaise sauce, in the video description below. So, what else to say? Oh, never mind. Sometimes you just don't need words.